The following opinions are solely those of BoatTest.com and its test captain.
Hi, Captain Steve for boattest.com, and today I'm on the latest launch from Beneteau's Gran Turismo lineup, the GT36. I'm going to put it through a full test and performance evaluation. Notice how the beam is carried so far forward that the narrow entry doesn't go all the way into the passenger area, but once we get down below the waterline, we do have the narrow entry, and that's what gives it its excellent handling characteristics. And also notice that every hull is made to accommodate a bow thruster. Whether you get it or not is an option at the purchase. Now, at the plant in Cadillac, Michigan, this boat is made right from the inception to accommodate either stern drives or outboards. And the way that that is done is from this point back, the mold is changed depending on what the power plant is. In this example, of course, we have outboards, so notice that there's an extension 12 inches coming out from the transom just to accommodate the outboards. Now, what this means from the layman's point of view is that there are no compromises in the operational characteristics of the boat depending on which power plant we want. Most often we see the same hull design and you just put either outboards or stern drives in. Here, it's a completely different mold for the two. And that's just another one of the things we see from the Beneteau group. They take things to the next level. The helm is starboard side mounted. There's a compass directly in line with the steering wheel. The panel is populated with two 11-inch Garmin displays, and notice there are heat and air conditioning vents to both sides. Lemco trim tabs are mounted way up high. I'd like to see them a little closer to the throttle so that when we bring our hand forward, they're right in line with us. But there is a little dip area here for putting stuff. A little raised panel would be nice to keep everything there. Twin stainless steel beverage holders over to the port hand side and the joystick piloting system over to the starboard side. All of our electrical switches are on the lower panel to the left. Charging and USB connectivity. The steering wheel is mounted to a tilt base. The digital throttle and shift has its host of optional features, and there's a 5-inch Mercury vessel view display alongside that. And then finally, the Garmin VHF. Getting into ergonomics, there's a footrest down below, convenient grab handles located over to the left-hand side. The seat is 34 inches wide, includes a flip bolster. Not so much standing headroom behind the helm because we've got a 5-foot 7-inch obstacle right here. Even if you're a little taller, you might not want to be standing like this because all it takes is one wave to hit your head. However, leaning against the bolster, now there's plenty of room and great visibility, because if you look forward, you'll notice the bow curves downwards, so it's absolutely outstanding visibility. And if you want even more visibility and natural light, we open up the sunroof. Now, if you find that that's too much air, go ahead and leave it closed, and we've got opening windows to port and starboard. And notice this big old single-piece windshield, 7 feet 6 inches by 3 feet 10 inches. Right inside the companionway leading down below, we've got battery switches, generator controls, switches for all of our 110 systems, and circuit breakers for the 12-volt. Storage is obviously everywhere. We've got it underneath the seats, under the seats. It's accessible from under the cushion or in front, even more so because we don't have the stern drive application. There's even more storage underneath where the engine used to be. Now, in addition to the huge amounts of storage that we've got under here, this is also where the 7.5 kW Westerbeek generator is stored. This is a gas generator, so we don't have to have a separate fuel tank. The engine start and house batteries are over to the port hand side with the battery switches just above them. We've got a 100-gallon fuel tank, one to each side of the boat, and then looking forward, we've got the filter system for the seawater going to the generator and the fire suppression system. Cleats to both sides of the transom are 11 inches, and notice that they're up high out of the trip zone. To the port side, there's shore power connectivity. For propulsion, twin 300 horsepower Mercury Verados, we can go up to 350 horsepower. These are also counter-rotating. Additionally, these have the JPS option, so we have joystick docking at the helm. Now, as we make our way to the side decks, I'm happy to see that there's a grab handle up on top at the overhead. The rails are angled out slightly, and it gives us 12 inches between the cabin sides and the rails, and they top out at 24 inches. Notice how at the cabin top, there's a molded area that makes it a convenient grab rail as we make our whole way forward. Now fully forward, there are 11-inch cleats to both sides of the bow, and now you can really see the squared off area of the bow that we were pointing out earlier, where the beam is extended so far forward. There's a split rail design so we can do bow inboarding, and there's a seat just ahead. And then underneath, the anchor is on an anchor roller that's recessed into the tow rail. Just behind, the anchor hatch is held open by a gas strut, and that leads to a Lumar windlass, 100 feet of chain, 150 feet of rope, and it's all stored right down below in the anchor locker. The remote control is right alongside the opening.
Now let's go over the numbers. The GT36 has a length overall of 40 feet 11 inches, a beam of 11 feet 6 inches, and a draft of 3 feet 3 inches. With an empty weight of 16,036 pounds, 75% fuel, and 3 people on board, we had an estimated test weight of 17,541 pounds. With the twin 300 horsepower Mercury Verados turning 17 pitch revolution props and wound up to 5670 RPM, our speed topped out at 41.5 miles per hour. Best cruise was reached at 33.7 miles per hour and 5,000 RPM. It was at that speed that the 39 gallon per hour fuel burn translated into 0.9 miles per gallon and a range of 156 statute miles, all while still holding back a 10% reserve of the boat's 200 gallon total fuel capacity. She got on plane in 4.9 seconds, and she'll stay on plane on down to 11.5 miles per hour. With the throttles pinned, she accelerated to 20 miles per hour in 8.4 seconds and continued through 30 in 22.5.
Okay, coming right. See how it drops down? You're going to want to make sure you clear the area when you put it into a turn, because this overhead drops down right into your line of view. Coming left. Left turns are much better because I can see through the sunroof. Because the engines are located so far back, there seems to be a good balance with the boat. Putting it into turns, you know, she'll stay on that level plane but roll off of the stable. So she hangs in the water really nicely, clings to the water in the turn, doesn't lose too much speed, so I find the turns to be very comfortable. There is a considerable amount of lean into the turns, but that's to be expected. It still has a nice feel to it. When you get up on plane, wait until she adds speed on that planing angle. That's when you want to start bringing the engine trim up, and it'll take a lot because they're way back there and the weight distribution of the boat is so evenly placed. So get it up on plane, get the speed up, now you start adding a bunch of trim. You're going to see the spray moving from right alongside the helm to the stern quarters, and that's when you know you're in your right position. If you add too much, you're not going to get any oscillating, but you will get ventilation of the props, so that's when you bring it down a couple of clicks and you know you're at your optimum. Well, she's got good handling characteristics, a solid feel to her. I can tell there's a nice clean slice going through the waves. It adds to her comfort level. All the boxes seem to be checked on the GT36. And that's my full sea trial and performance evaluation. For boattest.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.